and third grade, I learned every naughty word known to humankind for the word breasts. We chanted them while waiting at the bus stop as if it was a mnemonic device for an upcoming quiz. My grandmother even sung a song called The Memories. But my friend and I, we changed the words and the title to The Memories. Thanks for the memories, the breasts that we adore. They've always helped us score. The perky ones, the firm ones not too big nor small. We thank you so much. Since the beginning of time, breasts have been measured, examined, loved, and even feared. The following program of oral interpretation, we will examine breasts, from puberty to motherhood, objectification to cancer. We will learn how breasts are an important role in defining who we are. Through the prose, poetry, and drama from Mimi Spadolla's book Breasts, Cross My Heart by David Matthews, the Mastectomy Poems by Mary Stewart, Garbanzo Gale by Howard Hughes, and a poem reconstructed over the internet by an online plastic surgeon. A program on the memories. Thanks for the memories. We loved on the ideal. Men Copperfield. What's normal? What's normal? Do I have what's normal? It should come as no surprise that our breasts have such a profound impact on our identity. We are alternately told to hide them and show them off to the view of the world. They play an important role in motherhood, sexuality, puberty, growing, aging, and in some cases dying. Our faces are our outward identities to the world. Our breasts, our public and private identity, all in one. Where do girls learn what real breasts look like? Like most girls, I had a few realistic images in which I could judge my breasts. Television, movies, magazines, and that damn nipple is Barbie. They all provided a steady diet of unreal breasts. Women remember Charlie's Angels running around braless, jiggling while chasing down the bad guys. And even the cartoonish Barbara Eden is portrayed as having full breasts. It's no wonder we're confused. Now there's a whole list that only the boys use. Come on, I see you sitting there thinking of them right now. Hooters, that's a good one. Honkers. Cha-chas. Maracas. Melons. Jugs. Where did you guys come up with some of them? Sweater meats. Huge Hooters earned James Manfield the dubious title of Miss United Dairies, not to mention an adulterous date with JFK. Lana Turner wasn't called the sweater girl because she had a closet full of porch and knitwear. And even today, Raquel Welch is being more noted from being silicone from the knees up than for her thespian skills. An entire breast-obsessed Hollywood history. However, no chest has been quite so closely scrutinized as that as a pneumatic knockout, Jane Russell. A titillating torso, not humanitarian qualities, gave this swervy starlet an American household name. Little did the sag-free starlet know that all the brouhaha about her bosom had only just begun. We're not getting enough production out of Jane's breasts here. Howard Hughes would carp when he viewed Daily Rush of the Outlaw. Completed in 1941, it would take another 2 years and 11 minutes of cleavage cuts to satisfy the censors. And then it was a series of salacious studio advertisements inquiring what are 2 reasons for Jane Russell's stardom. The leading lady's well-exploited bust line got better reviews than her very flat performance. On stage, near my time, my body is square. Sequins, feathers, bare rounded, bright and hot under the light.
grasp their brown bodies. I lift my arms up, slip off my red laced bra in 20 wet sides, looking back at the men below. I don't look at them. I look at the luminous green egg. After my performance, I walk off the stage over all the coins thrown on the floor. I watch the bathroom to replace my breasts for one more performance.
I have not missed a Miss America pageant in 20 years. Those girls are better than drag queens. Hell, they are drag queens. I'm just so going to be thrilled on the brink of a fabulous career combining broadcast journalism and teaching handicapped children, as well as being a good neighbor, a good wife, and a good American. Here's my tits. Here's my butt. And here's my tits again. Thank you. Thank you all so very much.
Often our first encounter with non-real Barbie breasts is seeing our mother or another woman breastfeed. My first breast experience was very original. I can't remember all of it though, because I was really young. But at home there's a photo album. And in it there's a picture. There's a picture of me standing on, watching my mother and my brother being breastfed. That picture is just so beautiful. There's no other part of your body that can work such magic.
There are moments in every woman's life when she faces the humiliating fact that time is no longer on her side, as she performs the simply, yearly, justifying act of buying a swimsuit. Now, there are a few rules to remember when buying a swimsuit. So take a deep breath, a Prozac, and a pause, while I review the swimming suit laws. Rule number 1, no stripes horizontal unless you weigh 35 pounds. Rule number 2, accentuate the good parts. Make them look up and never look down. Ladies, when trying to improve the bra size, remember, foam is the last thing that dries.
We are named after our breasts. Mammal comes from the word mammalia, meaning that exclusively of the milk-producing glands which we have been named after. We, as many as scores of animals before us, we have been known to suckle each other. Mammal to mammal, baby to woman. Breast. That's what we named after.
All right, now that we've looked at some of the different interprobats that we want to
was walking around the Garden of Eden feeling very lonely. So God said to him, "Adam, what's the matter with you?" And Adam said, "Well, Lord, I don't have anyone to talk to." So God decided to create a companion for him, and he created a woman. "This woman will cook for you, and she will clean for you, and she will never get a headache. She will love you and comfort you. She will bear your children, and won't even ask you to get up in the middle of the night to take care of them. Oh, and she will never complain." Well, what's a woman like this gonna cost me? An arm and a leg. What can I get for a rib? The rest?
is history. Hail, hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. Well, this Catholic prayer has always bothered me. How come we're just poor banished children of Eve and not of Adam and Eve? How come Eve is the downfall of humanity? What if she really isn't? Well, Joni Mitchell once wrote, we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. So today in this program of oral interpretation, I'm going to take you to Eden to examine Eve. Prose, Eve by J.B. Phillips. The Gnostic Gospels by Elaine Pagels. Eve Fallen by Jane McVeigh. Poetry, Ratcliffe on No Evil Star by Anne Sexton. Eve by Joan Zimmerman. The Bony Ribs of Adam by Jane Kilcher. And jokes from Laura the Lunatic. Blech! Why is the man we never exists? It tastes foul. You're still thinking of surfaces. Don't you know the truth can only be found once you get past the skin? Surely, Eve, you're still curious. Curious? Curious about what? About how you were really born. Discard that propaganda about you being born from Adam's rib. And that one about Adam being made from mud and God's spit. Well, that, sweetie, has a splash of truth. And this does taste better. Eat it. Find out the difference between good and evil. God will love you. He will choose you. You will be the one Eve that is free. It took the craftiest creature around to tempt woman. Well, all it took to tempt Adam was Eve asking him a question with outstretched hand. Hey, Adam, want a bite? After Adam broke his rib in two and ate it for supper. After Adam, from the waist up, an old mother began to question the wonder, Eve was brought forth. Eve came out of that rib like an angry bird. Like a bird loosed from its cage came Eve, escaping. She was clothed in her skin like the sun, and her ankles were not for sale. God looked out of his tunnel and was pleased.
Now, what's the problem, Eve?
Well, Lord, I know you've created me in this nice garden, those furry animals, and that hilarious comedy snake, but I'm just not happy.
Well, what's the matter, Eve?
Lord, I'm lonely, and I'm sick to death of apples.
Well then, Eve, I shall create a man for you.
What's a man, Lord?
Well, a man will be a flawed creature. He'll have aggressive tendencies, an enormous ego, and an inability to emphasize or listen to you properly. But he'll be bigger and more muscular than you. He'll be very good at hunting and fighting and kicking a ball about.
Sounds great, Lord.
Well, he's better than a poke in the eye with a blunt stick now, isn't he? But you can only have him on one condition.
What's that, Lord?
You'll have to make him believe that I made him first.
When Eve saw Adam lying upon the ground, she pitied him. And she said, Adam, rise up and have life. And her words became a deed. And Adam rose up, and he said, you shall be called mother of all the living. For it is you, Eve, who gave me life. Adam was returning home one night after a late night in paradise. May was waiting up for him. You are seeing another woman. Eve, you're the only woman on earth. And with that, he went to bed. Later that night, felt a tickling in his chest. Eve, what do you think you're doing? I'm counting your ribs. Many simply ignore the claim that Eve was made from the rib of Adam, or that she was made in the likeness of God. And instead, many feel she was made from the snake, or from the devil, or from the appendage they both share, the tail. An early German literature account even goes as far to say that when God was pasting up the side of Adam, a dog came by and stole the rib. So God chased after the dog, cut off the dog's tail, and with the dog's tail created Eve. And the female's response to that story? And God created woman, and she had 3 breasts. And God said to the woman, "Is there anything you'd like to have changed?" And the woman said, "Yeah, can you get rid of this middle breast?" And so it was done, and it was good. And the woman exclaimed as she held that 3rd breast in her hand, "Hey, God, what are we going to do with this useless boob?" And God created man. I love the fall. I love the endless tumbling of leaves over my head. Leaves of amber and grief. Leaves promising everything, even the end. I love the fall of man. The way it began at the woman's mouth. The way I hear my own mouth beginning to speak the truth and then silence. Aftershock. I love Eve's tumbling into a world of shadows. The shadows of the leaves as they hover and deepen and drop. A dark hallelujah of colors covering the forest floor. The melting of wings. The sliding of apple juice down Eve's chin. How it lands on her breast. How she sees her breast and names it. She feels the quick bite of regret, but it is too late. The snake has coiled thickly within her brain, almost as if it is part of her. Love the fall of man. The way we are eased gently out of paradise. The way we float so slowly to the earth. The way it seems to keep on ending, yet never really ends. I left the bony ribs of Adam for the fruits of my own personal desire. It sent still heavy upon my flesh my absence, thorn to his side. But now how my belly hollows and aches, craving seed, craving kisses, but outside the road hisses. Love? Stepping lightly away from the door.
Hands up to an audience? Or?
Yeah, hands roll.
A.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big Bird, the famed friendly Muppet of Sesame Street, has apparently gone on a rampage. Several Muppets are known to be dead, including Prairie Dawn, Oscar the Grouch, and Bert, longtime friend, roommate, and occasional lover of Ernie. The Bird is now reportedly holding Maria hostage in a 5-floor tenement near Hooper's store. New York City police SWAT teams have surrounded the building. It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight. 4:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big Bird, Sesame Street Muppet, is reported dead at this hour, after an hour and a half hostage standoff with New York City police. As police stormed the 5-story tenement building where the bird was holding Maria hostage, Big Bird flew out an upper-story window at them in a kamikaze-like attack. Police SWAT units brought down the bird in a hail of automatic weapons fire. Dead are Curry Dawn, Oscar the Grouch, Bert, and Big Bird. Maria, who was taken hostage during the ordeal, has survived unharmed. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, muppetational. This is what we call the Muppet Show. As small children, we all grew up watching the Muppets. These shows often taught us how to count, how to sing along, and even how to share. But what the Muppets failed to teach us were the realities of the world we would soon take over as adults. A world where count to 10 often comes in handy while trying to pass a sobriety test. This program utilizes the Muppets to examine this concept. By contrasting memorable Muppet scenes with realistic yet paradoxical prose and poetry, we will see the safety of our living rooms and reality collide. Scenes from Jim Henson's Muppet Show on Sesame Street News by Kay Darren, and As the World Turns by George Rogers. This program is brought to you by the letter Q and the number 8. 5:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Violence has erupted on Sesame Street at 5 o'clock this afternoon, as thousands of humans driving home took a sightseeing tour of the scene of Big Bird's deadly rampage. Muppets became enraged. Hundreds of Muppets, large and small, stalked the streets and surrounded humans in their cars. In at least one case, 10 Muppets pulled a motorist from his car and beat him with large styrofoam letters. Police again arrived on the scene in force. At this hour, quiet is restored, but tensions are very high. Rocky bought a coconut, he bought it for a dime. His nephew bought another one, he paid it for a lime. He put the lime in the coconut, drank them both up. He put the lime in the coconut, drank them both up. He put the lime in the coconut. 12:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Police and fire units have been called to Sesame Street. Reporters on the scene describe a nightmarish atmosphere. Furry Muppets ranging in size from only inches to 7 feet in height are looting Hooper's store and firebombing the entire neighborhood. Orange and blue firelight is rising over many buildings. Cardboard backdrops, props, and storehouses full of numbers and letters are burning to the ground. Muppets are taunting firemen and police from windows high above the street with counting and alphabet songs. Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm Fozzie Bear. Why did the man put a sweater on his hot dog? Because it was a chili dog. Waka, waka, waka. Okay. How about this one? What do you get when you catch a frog and an elephant? You get a flat frog. Come on, folks, it's my best stuff here. Okay. What do you get when you put chocolate pudding in your mother's shoes? Give up? You get a spanking. Waka, waka, waka. Good night, everybody. 9:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Morning light has brought an eerie calm to Sesame Street after a night of rioting. On the street, lifeless, crumpled fur lies a mute testament of the night of wild outrage. Unknown numbers of Muppets have died or been shot to death by police in full riot gear. The Count was reported running down the street, crying and yelling, 10! 10 lifeless Muppet bodies! No humans were killed in the rioting, although several people reported rug burns. Near? Far. 3:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ernie, gay friend and roommate of the murdered Muppet Bert, broke his 2-day silence today with a eulogy address at a mass Muppet funeral. The following is his address. I come here today to honor a man I loved. A man who was loved by millions throughout the world. Bert was a giant among Muppets. His paperclip collection was viewed with awe by many of the world's leaders. Just a few years ago, As President Clinton campaigned on Sesame Street for the Muppet vote, it was Bert who everyone turned to for advice. It was Bert who told us all, anyone who can hang as many paper clips together as Bill Clinton can certainly run the country. I also come here today to honor Big Bird. Bird was such a loving creature. His large size and bright color alarmed many who first met him, but it was his innocent and curious nature which taught us all to love him. Bird wouldn't have wanted us to remember him or to memorialize him with violence. All he ever wanted was for all creatures to just get along with each other. Bird has come to a bad end, friends, but it wasn't his fault. It was just some bad seed. I think I always knew that one day the singing and dancing would stop. There'd be no more block parties, no more common camaraderie. I'd just be a lonely frog. But how could I have imagined Ernie shouting in tongues, handling snakes, Bert in drag, Cookie Monster scoring raw dough, thinks he can fly, talking him down from ledges, pay-per-view learning, rumors of Henson and Redivivus, Rip Stitches, Grover Baldy, Harry Munster running numbers, the anatomically correct click, fraternity suits, my beloved Miss Piggy turning tricks, corn dog breakfast, and above it all, always, those damned pigeons. If I had to put my finger on when I think the changes started, it would have to be in a jam session over at Burns. Ernie knew the sax player, so he introduced us to the rest of the band. And then Bert asked if they'd like to help us between the difference between big and little. And the drummer exposed himself, and Bert fainted. We all huddled over him, blowing clove smoke in his face to try and make him come to. When he finally did, he just flailed his arms around and yelled at Ernie, and then he stormed out. When things finally calmed down, the lead guitar player, an intensely mellow babe, made us all hold hands and meditate, to concentrate on who we were. Oscar said we were all basically fuzzy socks. No, she said. Deeper than that. What makes you jump and shout? And the stranger's hand we all replied. No, she said. Deep down inside, who are you? None of us had an answer. And I think this not knowing and having to say so in unison slightly disturbed us. Okay, here's your life story. One day, you're a little girl careening about the living room the way only a preschooler with a belly full of apple juice can. The next day, you're in Kmart, begging for a Kermit, an Ernie, a Big Bird, which your parents get you. You're convinced they've made an educational purchase. Then you're in kindergarten, 6th grade, high school, frantically dressing for your prom, while we settle to the bottom of your toy chest, our tattered fabric stained with mashed carrots, crushed under the weight of Legos and Barbies and Power Rangers. Meanwhile, on the way to your prom, Bud, a young man who takes great pride in the contrast between his black boxer shorts and white trousers, drives, talking about his plans not to attend college, but to instead hit the game show circuit. So when Bud leers at you, you cannot help yourself. You slide over the cool vinyl of his pickup truck's bench seat near the crook of his anxious arm. You're hypnotized by his theoretical approach to the daily double. Before you know it, you've missed the prom because you were busy getting pregnant. Twins are born. Bud has an unfortunate encounter with heavy machinery and begins collecting disability. Although he stays home all the time, he insists he is unable to help with the kids because that's when he crams for Jeopardy. So you deposit the children in front of the television. There we are. Just where you left us. Just where we left you. You really should have stayed and kept watching. Maybe we could have helped each other.
just for good. What would happen if I had tits? Eh? A guy like me, just so I could go to the beach and make my friends uncomfortable. My friends would say, Tim, you got some nice tits. You can't tell me to put a shirt back on because, hell, I'm a guy. I could walk around, go in the garage, and the mechanic would say, woo, Timmy boy, you got some nice titties. I mean, has anyone ever told you that before? I mean, I'm not gay or nothing, but I don't know how else to say it. You got some nice tits. Nice tits. I don't know why I brought that up. Men are pigs. We all know it. The odd thing is that some men really don't seem to care. They use it as an excuse to get away with their odd behavior. The following program is a humorous romp through the sides of men that we all love and hate. They're the writings of Tim Allen, Nick Casanova, Eric Bogosian, and G.M. Marks. Let's take a look at the Macho Man Syndrome. As we all know, men love to lie. The reason men lie so much is, well, their wives ask them to do such ridiculous things. For instance, women send thank you notes. Women send thank you notes for their thank you notes. Thank you for that thank you note. Where did you get it? Let's sit down at lunch and talk about our thank you notes. Now wait a minute. Has it always been like that? Have we always been lying? Yes, we have. It goes back to caveman days even. So let's take a look at the first lie. Grog have big dinner. Ugh. Later, a shrill cry from the woman. Hey, who took a dump in the cave? Dump? Cave? You always know a man's about to lie when he repeats the question. It gives him time to think about it. These days, it's no different. Everybody's having babies. They're spewing forth like quarters from a slot machine. Wives are doing breathing exercises. Husbands are going to Lamaze classes. Sudden responsibility is cooking. At dinner parties, I hear about placenta and C-sections. The most rewarding thing in your life, my father used to tell me. As though babysitters were a trophy. As though feeding time was the same as going to Gary's for a beer. Now, I'm not saying I want to be Captain Marianne and Gilligan, cast off alone with Tina Louise, nothing to do but carve coconuts. But it seems to be that I should be able to be childless without lectures. If I were king of planet Earth, I would decree, this is the last generation. There would be no more birth. The kingdom would be left to the animals. No trace of mankind, only a litter. Please don't tell me about your labor pains or your problems. And I won't tell you about the time I broke my leg, the time I almost died, or the time I turned 30. As every woman knows, and every man knows, when someone says to you, I'm not good enough for you, it only means you're not good enough for me. So if you want to split with your chick, and you're concerned with hell hath no fury, trust me, it's much better to get her to break it off with you. Now, there are a couple ways you can do this. One, if she has a different background, sprinkle your speech freely with ethnic slurs. Never apologize. Always borrow money from her. Don't pay her back. Always pretend to be drunk at the wheel of your car. That one's my favorite. But a good one is to step in every dog dropping you see. Now, there are two ways you can do this. One, as if by accident, and she'll just simply think you're clumsy and despise you for that. Another is to gleefully jump on it, in the manner of a child crushing a sandcastle. With every splat, grin wildly. If she objects to your behavior, act as if she's a bore and continue anyway. If she decides to join you, well, breaking up will be all that much easier. Now, if you don't want to dirty your shoes, I suggest to take a stick and prod at every dog poo you see. Claim you have an interest in veterinary medicine. That dog has got an iron deficiency. Hello, my name is Eric, and I'm a recovering male. I just want to share that I agree with what Tim was just saying about feeling shame for his, well, penis. Because I think a lot of my masculinity issues are very shame-based. In fact, I was in the shower the other day and I looked down at my little penis and I would remember what a bad person I've been. But I feel so stuck sometimes. It's like, on my way here tonight, I see this beautiful woman walk by me and you know she's got kind of a large breast, bouncing, and I've got to check out her breasts. Like I'm some kind of Pavlovian dog, and then once she's walked past me, I've got to check out her butt. Like I've never seen a butt before. It's depressing. I feel like a human being trapped in a man's body. So anyway, this friend of mine gets these tickets to see this woman he knows do a concert at Carnegie Hall. And he invites me to go along, and I go, and it's a great concert, and afterward there's this reception. And I'm there, and I'm hanging out, and I'm having a good time, and the next thing I know, he's bringing this woman over and introducing her to me. And I'm sitting there, and I'm shaking her hand, and she looks great, she smells great, she's wearing this beautiful night dress, and she just did this wonderful concert. And God, I would love to have sex with this woman. So inappropriate! I mean, where did this shit come from? I mean, I was ashamed. I was ashamed of my shame. I ran out of the room. I locked myself in the bathroom. People are pounding on the door. I'm crying. Well, I was sharing this with my therapist last week, and she suggested that I write a woman to one of the women I fantasize about when I, masturbate. And I wrote it, and she said it was a good letter. I mean, not to send the letter, but just to write it. And it was a good letter, and she told me to share it with you guys, the group. So here's my letter. Dear Michelle, first of all, I don't know if your name's Michelle or not, but that's what I just decided to call you. I just want to apologize for all the bad things I've done, just in case I ever see you walking on the street. And now I know what you're thinking. How can I have done anything bad to you? I don't even know you. And yeah, I know that's true. Probably hundreds of thousands of men fantasize about you every week. So in that way, I know I'm not special. But I have to apologize. Because every week I tear through the magazine supplements looking for you. Where is she? Where's Michelle? I look at the lingerie ads, the health club ads, the Club Med ads, and finally every week I find you. Yes, in a string bikini or a matching bra and girdle combo. Maybe reclining in a bathtub, almost revealing a nipple. I mean, I'd hate to tell you what I do, but you belong to me. I mean, you're all mine. I'm your love master. You're my love slave. I relish your bottle. I adore your boobs. When I'm with you, I am in heaven. But I'm sorry. I really am. I love you just the same, I promise. I'm just a man with a penis. And for that, I'm sorry.
The only thing you could see of Sotheby's was the white awning. The rest of the building had completely disappeared behind